This is the Reading to Learn Math page for section 3.5. It's on complementary and supplementary angles. They tell you right here in this box, complementary angles are angles whose degrees have a sum of 90. And they also tell you that supplementary angles are angles whose degrees have a sum of 180. Number one, they ask you to write the definition for each of those. So basically, you're writing that stuff right here. For number two, they want you to find the measure of each angle described. Explain your method for finding the angle measure. So part A says this: a pair of angles 1 and 2 are complementary. That means they add to 90. The measure of angle 1 is 35. What is the measure of angle 2? Well, these two angles need to add up to 90. You know one of them. So here's my method of finding the answer. 90 minus 35 equals 55. Part B, a pair of angles are supplementary. That means they add to 180. The measure of angle 3 is 70. What's the measure of angle 4? Well, these two angles need to add to 180. So I'm going to subtract to find the supplement of that angle 3. Number 3, always, sometimes, or never. If two angles are supplementary, then the sum of their measures is 180. That always happens. Part B, if two angles form a linear pair, then they are complementary. Should be supplementary. So put never, change complementary to supplementary. Part C, if two angles are supplementary, then they have the same measure. Yeah, that could definitely happen. Would look like this. These two angles, they're supplementary because they make that line, and they also have the same measure. But it doesn't have to happen like that. These two angles are supplementary and they don't have the same measure. That's acute, that's obtuse. Part D, if two angles are complementary, then they are adjacent. That can definitely happen. Here's two adjacent complementary angles. I don't need to put their measures in. I know together they add up to 90. That's my big angle. It's a right angle. Notice how these two angles are not adjacent. They're not touching each other. But 30 and 60 definitely makes 90.